think your pet has never been bored a day in its life? You're probably wrong. Boredom isn't a luxury emotion reserved for humans with too much free time. It might be one of the oldest, most widespread feelings in the animal kingdom, and almost nobody talks about it. We tend to assume boredom requires a complicated mind. You need to understand the passage of time, recognize that nothing interesting is happening, and feel dissatisfied about it. That sounds like a very human chain of thought. But here's the real question. Is boredom actually about complex thinking, or is it about something much simpler, an unmet need for stimulation? And if it's the second one, then almost any brain with the right wiring could feel it. Let's start with dogs, since they're the easiest case. Leave a dog alone for 8 hours and a familiar pattern unfolds. First, it barks. Then it paces. Eventually, it just lies by the door, doing nothing, staring at nothing. We call that being a good, calm dog. But researchers who study captive and companion animals describe something different. They call it a low arousal state, and it often shows up after a more agitated phase has already failed. In other words, the stillness isn't peace, it's giving up. Pigs might be even more revealing. Pigs are highly intelligent, curious animals, and in barren environments, they develop something scientists call stereotypic behavior. Chewing on bars, rooting at nothing, repeating the same motion for no clear reason. When researchers added toys, varied bedding, and novel objects, that behavior dropped sharply. The pigs weren't anxious about a threat. There was no threat. They were starved for something to do. Zoos provide some of the strongest evidence of all. Big cats have been recorded pacing the exact same path for hours, sometimes over 1,000 repetitions in a single day. For a long time, this was filed under stress. But the leading theory now points somewhere else. It isn't fear. It's an unstimulated mind with nowhere to put its energy. Give a tiger problem-solving tasks, hidden food, new scents to investigate, and the pacing often drops. That's not what you'd expect from pure stress. That's what you'd expect from boredom finally being relieved. Birds complicate the picture further because their version of boredom can look almost identical to ours. Parrots in understimulated environments sometimes pluck out their own feathers. Crows in captivity, given nothing to manipulate, will sometimes invent tasks, pulling a string just to watch it move, stacking objects with no reward attached. It's hard to explain that as instinct. It looks a lot more like a mind trying to entertain itself. Now, here's where it gets stranger. In 2021, researchers ran an experiment on mink, an animal known for being curious and exploratory in the wild. Some mink were kept in plain, unchanging enclosures. Others had access to varied, changing environments. The mink in the boring enclosures consistently sought out novelty more aggressively, even risky or unpleasant novelty, just to break the monotony. That's a pattern scientists recognize immediately, because humans do the exact same thing. Bored people will sometimes choose mild electric shocks over sitting quietly with their own thoughts. Boredom, it turns out, isn't just an absence of stimulation. It's a drive, a pressure that builds until the brain forces you to seek something, anything different. This is the pivot. For decades, scientists treated boredom as too sophisticated for most animal minds. It seemed to require self-awareness, a sense of time passing, an internal narrative about how things should be. But the evidence increasingly points the other way. Boredom may not be a byproduct of complex thought. It may be one of the engines that built complex thought in the first place. An unstimulated brain that pushes an animal to explore, manipulate, and seek novelty is a brain that's more likely to discover food, escape routes, mates, and danger. The restlessness isn't a flaw. It's a survival tool that simply never switches off, even when there's nothing left to survive. Which raises an uncomfortable possibility about our own pets, and about animals in captivity more broadly. If boredom is this widespread, then a huge number of animals living in small, unchanging enclosures, or even comfortable homes with predictable routines, might be quietly experiencing it every single day. Not suffering exactly, not in pain, just understimulated minds with nowhere to put their energy. The same flat, gray feeling you get on a slow Sunday afternoon with nothing to do. So the next time your dog sighs and flops down by the door, or your cat stares blankly at a wall for 10 straight minutes, consider the possibility that nothing is wrong, and also that nothing is quite right either. You're not looking at an empty mind. You're looking at a mind asking quietly for something to do.